we must decouple ourselves. We have no business. If India wants to do business with us, India is a great country, it's got a tremendous economy, it's got a lot of resources, and we would love to do that. But India boycotts us to the extent they don't want to play cricket with us. India needs us to come through to Central Asia, to go through to Europe by land access. We don't need them. So let's decouple to India, because why? I'm not going to talk about China, Pakistan, I'm talking about the north-south corridor. I'm talking about the old RCD. I'm talking about the new corridor that's opening up to Africa, to Saudi Arabia and Oman. We are the center of it all. Look at us for what we are, and look at our youth that has come up. Look at our youth.
Let me just say thank you, first of all, to my friend Ikram Sehgal for having me here. It's truly an honor. It's my first time at Davos, and let me say that one could not ask for a better backdrop for a speaking engagement.
Pakistan, many of you will remember, Pakistan has had quite a few hopeful moments in years past. I think that many of you will remember that at one point, Pakistan was thought by many economists to potentially be the next Asian tiger. And until the early 1990s, Pakistan's growth trajectory was actually more favorable than India's was. But then you have continued challenges. One argument that's often been made about Pakistan, and often convincingly, is that it's resilience. This is really important. I think when you talk about what's inspiring about Pakistan, this is another key area to highlight. Pakistan doesn't let all these setbacks bring the country down. And this enables the country and its people to bounce back from catastrophic flooding, from terrorism campaigns, from economic stress, and so on. This is very true. And again, I find this very inspiring about Pakistan. You've had magazine covers. I think Time magazine at some point, after a particularly horrific flood in Pakistan, that described Pakistan as the world's most resilient state. Pakistan has also been described as the world's most dangerous country by certain Western magazines. So it's nice to see this reference to Pakistan in the Western media as the world's most resilient state. But what I worry about is that if you make the resilience argument too much, it risks becoming a crutch. The resilience essentially becomes an excuse to accept the need to just get by, stay afloat, muddle through, which is another term one hears a lot about Pakistan, and not take the big steps that need to be taken to address the deep-seated issues that cause the problems that require the resilience. I do think Pakistan can tap into the potential.
I also think there should be a 10-year moratorium on the word potential when it comes to Pakistan. I wish we would stop talking about the potential of Pakistan and start talking about what Pakistan has to offer today. And we could talk about what it has to offer tomorrow, but that's irrelevant if the right decisions aren't made today. I think that too big to fail fallacy has held Pakistan back because it actually encourages mediocrity. It encourages getting by. It encourages Pakistan being reliable, being reliant on how other nations might use it rather than its own potential. So I would actually encourage Pakistan to move beyond the too big to fail fallacy. Pakistan's too big to be inconsequential, but it's not too big to fail. It could fail, or it could be a monumental success depending on what choices are made. And I used to be very critical of the United States for hyphenating Pakistan with Afghanistan. I hate the term AFPAC. But I think in recent years, it's actually to some degree Pakistan that's hyphenating itself with other countries, while the world is ready to view Pakistan as an important nation in and of itself. But Pakistan has to embrace that status. And it can't engage in a sort of survivalist mindset when it engages in relations with China or the United States or Europe. It has to engage from a place of confidence. And of course, the world must also recognize Pakistan's inherent importance as a nuclear power, as I'm going to break my rule, a potential economic powerhouse. I'd like to thank Mr. Sehgal and Pathfinder and the audience for being here. And you know, it's a bit of a cliche, but they always say if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. Well, I'm definitely in the right room because there's so many more qualified and erudite and knowledgeable people than me. I feel ill-equipped to even be up here.
If it comes to advice, then I would advise every Pakistani not to listen to a Swiss who is trying to give advice to Pakistan. And all the people that I know from Pakistan, they have a lot of things that I don't have. They know how to deal with crisis. They know how to deal with political changes. They know how to deal with geopolitical changes. And they kind of find their way through. You know, one day it will be this prime minister, the other day another prime minister, and the old one goes to jail, and still you can like them all together. And still you don't have to be angry at each other. It's something that would be very difficult to pull off in Switzerland, so don't listen to me. Do it the way you do it.
Why is it that we're in Switzerland and having this event, and imagine if an event like this was happening in Chitral, would even people from Karachi go? Highly unlikely, because a lot of people are just not as aware. Would people from abroad come? Maybe they'll come to Islamabad. Would they go to a lot of those places for an economic event, not a tourism event? Probably not. And that's the narrative that we need to change. It's not going to happen overnight, but that's where you have to partner up with the government. And the ideas come from the private sector. And I am representing the private sector, but I'll say that even in that, the private sector has also not really played its part, because we accept everything as mediocre and we say that's fine.
Ikram, like what you're doing today, it is the brand that it is creating influence, being a strategy to have all of us over there. So people can see what potential, unfortunately, exists for us. So it all really comes down to living in US. One of the biggest things that I see, especially in the Pakistanis too, that how are we really creating influence? Influence is not just done by buying beautiful houses or Lamborghinis and all of those things. What are you doing for the communities that you live and the communities that you come from? And I think it all really comes down to that what difference you are trying to make.
As we all know, Sehgal has been sponsoring the Pakistan Pavilion gatherings at Davos for the past 2 decades. And this is his way of showcasing all that is sanguine and encouraging about Pakistan. The theme of today's gathering is Inspiring Pakistan. And in this context, one of the many good and promising things in Pakistan is the immensely generous nature of our people. I would like to talk briefly about the role of philanthropy in the development of Pakistan. In terms of its GDP, Pakistan ranks high in the international philanthropy context. Considering that we are a developing economy with limited resources, our per capita giving is phenomenal. In 2019, the Charities Aid Foundation ranked Pakistan at number 1 in the Global Giving Index, with 82% of Pakistanis reporting that they had actually given in charity in the past month. This index looks at the frequency of giving and not the volume. Ladies and gentlemen, philanthropy is not about the size of our wealth, it's about the size of our hearts. Let us all find ways, big and small, to ensure that no one is left behind.
Walking up and down the promenade, you see AI pretty much pasted all over the place. And there's kind of an excitement and buzz around it. ChatGPT and OpenAI's created that buzz around it. Pakistan has this excellent opportunity for having it being in the position with the sort of IT consulting houses being in a position where we're developing and kind of offering a cheaper alternative in an English-speaking country to what India was doing in the 90s. So I'm going to violate the potential word again, but essentially there is a huge potential in this space to kind of leapfrog some of the competition because everybody's starting out.
I'd like to start by thanking Ikram Sehgal, his family, Pathfinder group. You guys have always been, really a beacon of hope for us. And I remember last time coming here, and I really got inspired by everything that you were doing. And I wanted not just the investment department, but I wanted a Pakistan show. I wanted TDAT to be involved. I wanted corporates to be involved. Get everyone together
and project Pakistan in the way that it should be projected, in the way that it deserves to be projected. I think sometimes we also, at the government level, lack that focus. And that is something that we as Pakistanis, as the government, should focus on and try to give ourselves a direction so we can take that project. On the other side, we're talking about public-private partnerships. That's my favorite subject to be talking about, and that's what I represent here. PPPs have been a huge success. Our PPP unit in Sindh has actually been ranked by The Economist magazine as the 6th best in the world in that entire region. Very transparent mechanism. We work with the best partners. Like, we hope to use these skills on PPPs that we've developed for other projects, for agriculture, for food security, for education, technology. EV infrastructure is something that we're developing right now. So much, again, so much potential, but but I think we just need to channelize everything and bring it together.
So thank you, everyone. Thank you for being here. And please, we look forward, God willing. My wife keeps telling me not to tell my age, but I'll probably be 79 this year. And hopefully next year I do this again. Thank you.